So after gaining promotion to the Bundesliga in the 22-23 season, Darmstadt have been absolutely woeful, winning a measly 2 from their opening 26 games and currently sitting at the bottom of the Bundesliga, 12 points from safety. It's an absolute certainty that Darmstadt will be back in the Bundesliga 2 next season. So Darmstadt are bottom of the league, shipping goals for fun, and to add insult to injury, this season they've been beaten 4-1 by Union Berlin, 5-1 by Bayer Leverkusen, 8-0 by Bayern Munich, 6-0 by Augsburg, and 5-2 by Bayern Munich again. So it's safe to say they are the league's whipping boys this year. However, I cannot sit here and just watch Darmstadt get battered week after week. So we are jumping into FC24, taking charge of Darmstadt, and we are going to win them a Champions League trophy. And remember, boys, if you enjoy this content, please make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel, as we're getting very, very close to 3,000 subscribers. Let's get Darmstadt rebuilt. So this is the Darmstadt team we've loaded into, boys, and oh my god, this team is We've currently got a left wing back playing CDM, a right midfielder playing striker, and a CDM playing centre back. This team is woeful, and no wonder this team is getting relegated in real life. Everything about this team is wrong. The formation, the player positions, the overalls of the players are absolutely stinking the gaff out as well. So we're going to switch around the formation, try to build the best possible team of these players, because we can't add any improvements at all to this horrible team until January the 1st, because the first summer transfer window is always disabled in these rebuilds. So we've had a mess about with the formation, boys, and we've decided on the 4-4-1-1 for this rebuild. And even though we've moved the players around and switched the formation up, this team is still absolutely stinking, and I will be massively surprised if come January the 1st we are not in a relegation battle. And to add insult to injury, boys, we've actually got 6 players over the age of 30 at the club and a further 5 players in their late 20s. So we've not even got that young of a team, boys. There's probably not that much room for these players to grow. I can't lie, boys, I think this could be one of our toughest rebuilds to date. Now, the tactical vision we're going to go for this rebuild is the counter-attacking tactical system, purely because, boys, this team is shocking. We can't dominate the ball, we can't Gengen press and win the ball back high. The only thing I think this team is going to be able to do is soak up pressure and try and hit teams on the break. And given the fact the squad is desperately crying out for reinforcements, when we get to January it will only have 13 million euros. When we get to January, the goal will be to bring in very young, very high potential players who can grow over the course of the rebuild, and maybe even, boys, dip into the loan market, because as you know on this channel, we love 2-year loans with optional future fees. So we've sorted out the formation and the starting 11. We've also sorted out the tactical vision and the finances. There's nothing left to do, boys, but simulate forward through to January the 1st. If this team is actually off the bottom of the Bundesliga, I think I deserve a sub. So we've arrived at January the 1st, boys, and FC24 is just the most bizarre game I think I've ever actually played, because we currently sit 8th in the Bundesliga with Darmstadt. How are we 8th? We've played 16, won 5, drawn 5. We've only lost 6 games all season. Now, in real life, Darmstadt have conceded 65 goals. We've conceded just 27. There's every chance we could fall off towards the back end of the season. I'm fully aware of that. Let's now get into the transfer market and bring some players through the door. Well, I say some players, boys. We have 16 million euros in the bank, so we can probably sign just 1 player. And on the run up to January, we did sell 3 players. The first player we sold was Klaus Jazula. I probably butchered that name. For 710 grand to Heidenheim. We also sold Christoph Zimmermann to Nice for 2.1 million, and Thomas Isherwood has joined Antwerp for 1.9 million. So looking at the squad, boys, it's glaringly obvious where we need to improve, and that is in the centre midfield position to replace Schneller, as he's 69 rated. He's 29-year-old, not going to grow too much more, and I'm willing to spend the entire budget bringing in a replacement, but the guy we bring in has got to be young with high potential. And just to let you know, boys, every single player we had on loan has been recalled, and given our league position, we didn't need him anyway. So before we get into the incomings, boys, we have had a few more outgoings to get through. Alexander Brunst will join Sounders FC at the end of the season when his contract expires. Aaron Sedel has joined Cagliari for 1.6 million. Oscar Wilhelmsen has joined FC Augsburg on loan till the end of the season. Max Wendt has joined Lassuan Sports on loan till the end of the season. And finally, Fabio Torriciello has joined Molde on loan till the end of the season as well. So we've now got 18 million euros in the bank. So we definitely want to bring in a central midfielder to replace Schneller, and if we have any leftover money, we're going to bring in a left midfielder to replace Honsack. And the first signing we've identified of the Darmstadt rebuild will be Arne Engels from FC Augsburg. He's 20-year-old, 73 rated, high whip rates. He's got really decent stats, lads, and he's very affordable as well, costing between 7.9 and 9.9 million euros. I think this would be a great way to kick off our transfer window. And for just 6 million euros, we've brought Arne Engels to Darmstadt. Darmstadt. Now, we do still have 11 million euros in the bank after the signing of Engels, and we are very much in the market for a left midfielder, and we have identified Julian Duranville of Borussia Dortmund. He's 68 rated and 17 years old. Admittedly, he is quite low rated, but his potential is insane. His stats aren't the best, but once again, boys, this is a signing for the future, and he's very affordable, costing us between 2.9 and 3.6 million euros, and this is a brilliant investment for the future. And we have brought Julian Duranville to the club for just 2.8 million euros. And now we do actually still have 8 million euros, boys, so we might be able to make one more signing. And looking at the team, I think our left back Holland needs replacing, as he's 70 rated, 33-year-old, and I'm sure we can bring in a much younger, better replacement. So we have managed to solve our left back problem, boys, and we've brought one through the door. But before we announce who it is, we've got two more outgoings to bring you up to date with. Emir Karic has joined Everton on loan till the end of the season, and we have sold Fabian Holland to Royal Antwerp for 1.2 million euros. And our left back problem has been solved by the man John Tolkien. We've brought him in from Girona for 6 million euros. We have paid slightly more than his market value. He's 72 rated, 21-year-old, showing great potential, and I think this is another very, very solid pickup in this transfer window. And that now leaves us with just 3 million euros in the bank, meaning our transfer window is finished. And wow, our team is absolutely dead on its feet, but this will be the team that takes us through to the end of the season. Now, Tolkien and Engels are upgrades on their current positions, but Duranville is not. As we know though, boys, he is a signing for the future. Now, this squad has already surprised me this season by currently being 8th in the division, so who knows, maybe we'll finish top half. I am expecting us to fall off though, boys. Let's now simulate forward straight through to the end of the season and see where we finished in season 1 with Darmstadt. We've reached the end of the season, lads, and wow, we had a very poor end to the season, taking just 14 points from our last 16 games, but we did just enough to stay up. Our early season form has kept us up, finishing in 14th place on 34 points, just 2 points above the relegation playoffs and 2 points above the actual drop zone, meaning we are playing Bundesliga football next season, but we have got a lot of work to do in the transfer window to ensure we're not in a relegation battle again next season. And boys, for the first time in the history of Darmstadt, we have won the DFB Pokal somehow. I really don't understand how we've won it, beating Mönchengladbach 4-2 in the final. Genuinely, boys, I'm mind blown by this, but in season 1 we have added the first trophy to the trophy cabinet, and I am definitely not complaining about that. And I think, boys, that might mean we're in Europe next season, but I could be wrong. So this is our team that has avoided relegation and actually won us the Pokal, and it's looking a little better on paper, boys. I would still say that's a prime relegation candidate side. We've also lost Bader as well for 6 months, who's our first choice right back, which is a massive shame. I do think the team looks okay on paper, boys, but we are going to have to add some more quality to the team next season. Skark is going back to Union Berlin at the end of the season, so we'll definitely need a new right midfielder. I'm thinking, boys, as well as a right midfielder, a new striker to replace Manu might be a good option, as he's 27-year-old, 72 rated, and I think we can bring in a better player in that position. So our best player this season though, boys, was the man we're going to replace next season, Manu, getting 17 goals in 33 games. That's a great return. Marvin Mehlem chipped in with 12 and 9, but after that, boys, not many goals at all from the rest of the squad, which is something we do need to improve if we don't want to be in the relegation zone again next season. So let's get into season 2, boys. Let's find out if we're in Europe, and let's just try to steer well clear of relegation next season. So we've arrived in season 2, boys, and we've got a measly 17 million euros to improve our squad. So because we've only got such a small transfer budget, boys, I'm actually going to give a player who's currently at the club a chance. Oscar Wilhelmsson is 20-year-old and 71 rated, and he's actually showing great potential. Now, I know he's a 2 overall decrease on Manu, who's 73 rated, but Wilhelmsson could actually grow to 85 rated, I think, with showing great potential. So we are going to put him in the starting 11. He's going to be our first choice striker for this season, and hopefully he repays my faith and scores us quite a few goals. So as of right now, boys, our primary focus for this team is to bring in the new right midfielder. So we have identified our first signing of the season 2 summer transfer window, and I have to say, boys, this would be a special deal if we can pull it off. We have identified Real Betis right midfielder Hassan Dione, I think that's how you pronounce his name. He's 74 rated, 18-year-old, is an exciting prospect. He's got good stats, and he's going to cost us between 10.8 and 13.5 million euros, meaning we can definitely bring him to Darmstadt, and this would be an outstanding signing. And boys, we've got such a good deal for Hassan Dione. We've signed him for 10.1 million euros. This is an absolute steal, and we're still left with 12 million euros, boys, meaning we can definitely bring in another player. And I know Bader is one of our better players, but he is 27 now. He's still injured for 4 more months. We don't have another right back at the club. I'm thinking, boys, let's bring in a younger, high potential right back than Bader, and when he's fully fit, maybe sell him on. And we kick off our season, boys, with a Super Cup defeat to Bayern Munich, but we give an amazing account of ourselves, drawing 1-1 and losing on penalties. I'm really proud of that effort from our players. And as we know, boys, we're in the market for a right back in this transfer window, and we have identified Sale Kumbedi of Olympique Lyonnais. He's 73 rated, 19-year-old, got really good potential in this year's game, and he's only going to cost us between 8.7 and 7 million euros. But I'm going to be a little bit cheeky here and offer an injured Bader as part of the deal and see if Lyon accepts it. Now, we have brought Sale Kumbedi to the club for 6 million euros. Unfortunately, Lyon would not accept an injured Bader. At least we tried though, boys. Now, we have also had 5 outgoings in this transfer window, which I'll run you through right now. Andreas Muller joined Club Bruges for 2.3 million. Fraser Hornby joined Montpellier for 3 million. Henry John Crosswaite joined Piast Gualais, I've butchered that name badly, boys, for 930 grand. We sent Fabio Tracelio on loan again to Aruca, and we also sent a very promising young centre-back in Clemens Riedel out on loan to Fenerbahce. Now, after the signings of Diao and Kumbedi, we do still have 6 million euros in the bank, but I think, lads, I might just save that for next season, because I don't think, looking at that team, we're bringing another first-team quality player with 6 million euros, and we want to give Wilhelmsen and Duranville a chance to grow this season. And, lads, because we won the Pokal in Season 1, somehow, I'm still mind-blown by it, we are actually in the Europa League in Season 2. So we've reached the end of the transfer window, boys. There's been no further incomings and no further outgoings, but our Europa League group has been drawn, and we are in Group A, along with Manchester United, Sturm Graz, and FC St. Gallen. Now, boys, why do I feel like we can actually get through this group? Think, besides Man United, that is a very kind group, and I would be slightly disappointed if we don't get through it. Let's now simulate forward straight through to the end of the season, and hopefully we've avoided a relegation battle, and we've actually got through our Europa League group. I would be buzzing with that. So we've arrived at the end of Season 2, boys, and we have secured an 11th place finish in the Bundesliga on 41 points. We were 10 points clear of the relegation zone, so that is progress made on last season. So I'm really happy with the league position. I thought the squad was very young and not the strongest, and the fact we've stayed so clear of the relegation zone is very impressive to me. Now, unfortunately, we did not retain our Pokal title, as Mönchengladbach will take on Leipzig in the final. We did get to the quarterfinals though, boys, where Frankfurt knocked us out 3-1. Now, in the Europa League, we did actually manage to get through our group, finishing in 2nd place, winning 3 and losing 3 of our games on 9 points. In the preliminary round, we actually beat Salzburg 4-2 over 2 legs, meaning we actually reached the round of 16, but unfortunately we were met with AS Monaco, who beat us 4-2 over 2 legs, just proving a bit too much of a step up for us. But getting to the round of 16 in the Europa League is absolutely brilliant with the squad we've got. And speaking of the squad, this is how it's looking at the end of Season 2, and it's definitely looking a lot stronger than at the start of the season. Wilhelmsen, Diao, Duranville, Engels and Tolkien have all had excellent seasons in terms of growth. However, now going into Season 3, I think it's time we started to improve our centre-backs and goalkeepers. Maglica and Clara have hardly grown this season, and Schuen is 32-year-old. So in the summer, we want a brand new young goalkeeper with high potential and a really good, solid first-team quality centre-back. Now, in terms of stats, lads, Hassan Diao was our best player, getting 19 goals and 5 assists, closely followed by Oscar Wilhelmsen, who, in all honesty, was actually our best player, thinking about it. He got 19 and 6 in 1 less game. So let's get into Season 3, boys, and the goal is to just keep pulling away from that relegation zone, maybe get a mid-table finish, maybe even sneak into the Conference League. So we've arrived in Season 3, boys, and we've got a pretty disappointing budget of only 25 million euros, meaning we're going to have to make some sales before we can bring players in. So we kick off this summer transfer window with a few outgoings, boys. Our first choice goalkeeper Marcel Schuen has joined Union Berlin for 3.7 million. Yannick Muller has joined AZ Alkmaar for 1.1 million, and we have also sold striker Fabio Torciello to AGF for 2.3 million euros. And we have got talks ongoing to sell some more players in this window, but as of right now, we're left with a transfer budget of 32 million euros. And as we know, boys, we really wanted to improve on our goalkeeper this year. That's why we've actually sold our first choice keeper, and I have identified Jonas Erbig of Heidenheim. He's 76 rated, 21. He's German as well, and he's also got very good stats, and he is going to cost us between 17.5 and 21.9 million euros. I think this is a great deal, boys. Very young, up-and-coming goalkeeper, and we are going to bring him to Darmstadt. And for just 15.5 million euros, we have brought Jonas Erbig to Darmstadt. And lads, his development status is actually an exciting prospect, so this guy could get to near 90 rated for us. So after loaning out some academy players, boys, we have had one more major sale in this window. Braden Manu has joined Ajax for 8.7 million euros, and we are now left with a transfer budget of 28 million euros to bring in a centre-back. And the centre-back we have identified is Martin Vitic of Espanyol. He's 22 years old, 78 rated, but he is going to cost us between 21.4 and 26.8 million euros, meaning it's going to use up all of our budget, but I do definitely think Vitek comes in and makes us a lot stronger. And we have brought in Martin Vitek for 23.5 million euros. Now that does leave us with just 3 million euros in the bank, meaning, lads, our transfer window is probably finished. So we've arrived at the end of the window, boys, and there's been no further incomings or outgoings, meaning this will be the Darmstadt team to take us into season 3. Now it is looking a lot stronger on paper, but once again, lads, I do feel that will be a lower mid-table side. But the goal of this season is just purely to get this team developing and get as many players to 80 rated as we can. Then in season 4 we can go really hard and try and get into Europe. So let's now simulate forward straight through to the end of the season, and hopefully we've improved on a 12th place finish last season. So we've arrived at the end of season 3, boys, and we have secured an 8th place finish in the Bundesliga, which I'm really impressed with. We only finished 7 points off a European place, winning 14 of our 34 games with a positive goal difference as well. That is a massive sign of improvement, and hopefully next season with the right additions we can actually get into Europe. But scrap that, boys, because we're going to be in the Europa League next season as we've won our second Pokal of the rebuild, beating Leverkusen 2-1. So within 3 seasons at Darmstadt we've won 2 Pokal trophies. I don't understand, we're actually amazing in the Pokal. If only we could perform like this in the league, boys. So this is how the team is looking on paper at the end of the season, boys, and the progression on the pitch has been outstanding. We now only have 2 players at the club who are below 80 rated, and we will probably look to replace Nürnberger and Clara next season. But the squad is now starting to look really strong, boys, and I think after replacing those 2 players we should have a really good chance of getting into Europe. So our best player this season was Oscar Wilhelmsen, getting 24 goals and 2 assists. He had an amazing season. And then Julian Duranville really steps up this year, getting 12 goals and 3 assists, closely followed by Asan Diao, who got 10 and 4. But other than that, boys, no one really stands out after that. But all in all, boys, a really strong season. We're back in the Europa League next year, and hopefully next year, you know, with the right additions and a good transfer budget, maybe, just maybe, we could sneak into 4th and in the Champions League. So we've arrived in season 4, boys, and we've finally got a respectable transfer budget of 42 million euros. And we've already identified we want to bring in a centre back and a centre midfielder with that money. So we kick off our transfer window, boys, with some pretty massive outgoings. Morten Behrens has joined Basel for 1 million euros. Emir Karic has joined Cologne for 2.2 million euros. And we've sold Fabian Nürnberger to Leipzig for 25.5 million euros. And following Nürnberger out the door is Christoph Clara, who's joined Napoli for 24.7 million euros. And this means we now have 95 million euros to sign a centre midfielder and a centre back. And we have identified the centre back we want to bring to Darmstadt, and it is PSG defender Lucas Beraldo. He's 80 rated, 22-year-old, got very decent stats, and he will cost us between 32.4 and 40.5 million euros, meaning we'll have a nice healthy chunk of money left to bring in a centre midfielder. And for just 32 million we have brought Beraldo to Darmstadt. So as we know, boys, we are still in the market for a central midfielder, and we have identified Christian Medina of the Boca Juniors in Argentina. He's 24-year-old, 83 rated, doesn't have a single stat below 75, but boys, we might not be able to make the deal happen, as Boca Juniors are going to want between 57.3 and 71.6 million euros. I just hope we have enough money to make the deal happen, boys. And we have managed to bring Medina to the club for 55 million euros. What a signing this is, boys. Now that does leave us with just 4 million in the bank, so I think our transfer window is done. So we'll be making no more signings in this transfer window, boys, and this is the team that will take us into season 4, and it's looking so much stronger now on paper. No player below 80 rated, so many young wonder kids in this team. The sky is genuinely the limit. Hopefully we can do really well in the Europa League and maybe even sneak into the Champions League places. And our season has got off to an absolutely mind-blowing start, boys. We've just beat Bayern Munich 5-1 in the Super Cup, and look at them stats. We have absolutely dominated them. Is that a sign of things to come this season? So we've arrived at the end of the transfer window, boys, and there's been no further incomings or outgoings, but our Europa League group is in, and do you know what, lads? We should be topping this group. We've got Shakhtar Donetsk, Hearts and Malmo. Really is a kind group, and I'm hoping we can get through to the round of 16. Let's now simulate forward straight through to the end of season 4, and hopefully we've snuck into the Champions League. Maybe that's a bit of an ask. And lads, I'd like to get to maybe the semi-finals of the Europa League, or maybe even win it. So we've arrived at the end of season 4, boys, and we have secured Champions League football for season 5, clinching a 3rd place finish on 65 points. However, there is a massive gap between 3rd and 2nd. There's 11 points separate us and Borussia Dortmund. That's a gap we want to be closing next season. Now, we didn't add to our 2 Pokal wins so far in this rebuild, as we lost to Schalke 3-2 in the quarterfinals. Boys, we made it all the way to the Europa League final, only to lose 3-1 to Real Sociedad. That is absolutely gutting. We topped our group comfortably with 11 points. points. We then went on to beat Real Betis 4-2 in the round of 16, Newcastle 5-3 in the quarterfinals, and Spurs 4-3 in the semis. But unfortunately, we just fell short at the final hurdle. So this is how the team is looking at the end of season 4, and it is looking absolutely amazing, boys. Hassan Diao is our first 90 rated player of the rebuild, with Engels, Beraldo, Medina and Urbig all reaching 84 rated as well. Now, going into season 5, boys, I really want to bring in a world-class centre attacking midfielder to replace Mehlem, as he's 30-year-old and 82 rated. I would like to keep him around on like a rotation-based contract though. And now we did concede 51 goals in the league last season, so I'm thinking about bringing in a better centre-back than Vitic, as his growth has really plateaued as well. Now, in terms of stats, Hassan Diao was our best player, obviously getting 29 goals and 10 assists. Oscar Wilhelmsen chipped him at 28 and 5, Duranville 18 and 11, Mehlem 18 and 17, despite the fact we are going to be replacing him, and Medina from centre midfield got 17 and 8. What a signing he turned out to be. So goals, clearly not an issue, boys. We're just letting too many in at the back. Let's now get into season 5, our first season in the Champions League, and get some world-class players through the door. So we've arrived in season 5 and we've got a whopping 109 million euros to spend. So as we know, boys, we're in the market for a new centre-back in this window, and I've had a bit of an idea. We've identified William Paco of Frankfurt. He's 25-year-old, 84 rated, really solid stats. He's only going to cost us between 35.6 and 44.5 million euros, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to offer up Vitic for a straight swap. So we've managed to swap Vitic, and Frankfurt did want 3 million euros on top, but we have managed to bring William Paco over to Darmstadt. And I have to say, boys, we've got a player who's 2 overalls higher, the same age, and we've literally just paid 3 million extra. Whoever's in charge of transfers at Frankfurt needs sacking. And after signing Paco, we're still left with 104 million to bring in a centre attacking midfielder. And we have identified Kai Havertz, who's currently playing for PSG. He's 87 rated, 28-year-old, amazingly well-rounded stats, boys. However, he is going to cost anywhere between 89 and 111 million euros, so we might not actually have enough to get him to Darmstadt. And we have made our biggest signing of the rebuild to date, bringing Kai Havertz to Darmstadt for 89 million euros. And after the signing of Kai Havertz, we only have 9 million in the bank, so I think our transfer window could be finished. So we've reached the end of the transfer window, boys. There's been no further incomings or outgoings. This is the team that will take us forward into season 5, and I have to say, adding Havertz and Paco really has taken our team to the next level. I think this squad can give a really, really good account of itself in the Champions League, and now let's check to see who's in our group. So the Champions League group is in, boys, and it's not the worst. We've got Man United, Benfica and Shakhtar. We have previously been in a group with Shakhtar in the Europa League. Do you think we've got a really solid chance of getting through this group? You'd imagine that United would be the favourites, then we would be the second favourites to go through. Let's now simulate forward straight through to the end of season 5 and see how we did in the Champions League and the Bundesliga. So we're arrived at the end of the season, boys, and we have won the Bundesliga title, with Darmstadt finishing on 75 points, 3 points clear of Bayer Leverkusen in second place, only losing 3 of our 34 games, a whopping 41 goal difference. What a season we have had at Darmstadt, and trophies just continue to roll in. However, we could not add another Pokal trophy to the cabinet, as Borussia Dortmund knocks us out 3-1 in the semi-finals. And in the Champions League, boys, we come second in our group despite drawing 4 games, getting 10 points. We then beat PSG 5-2 over 2 legs to progress to the quarterfinals, but then ultimately Real Madrid proved to be too much for us, as they knocked us out 5-3 over 2 legs. So this is the Darmstadt team that has won the Bundesliga this season, and it's looking incredibly strong on paper, boys. Only 2 players in the entire starting 11 are under 85 rated, and that is our fullbacks. So obviously now going into season 6, we definitely need to bring in a world-class fullback, probably to replace Kumbedi. I might even spend the entire budget on one player. In terms of stats, boys, Oscar Wilhelmsen was our best player, getting 27 goals and 4 assists. Kai Havertz had a great first season back in Germany, getting 21 and 11. And Hassan Diao, once again, boys, 19 goals, 7 assists. 22-year-old, 91 rated. What a player this guy is. So that's season 5 boxed off, boys. Let's now get into season 6 and try to get to a UCL final. So we've arrived in season 6, boys, and we've got 161 million euros in the bank, meaning we can pretty much bring in any right back that we want to. So as we know, boys, we are in the market for a right back, and we have identified Achraf Hakimi of Wolverhampton Wanderers as our main target. He's 86 rated, 29-year-old, very, very attacking fullback with insane stats, and we can get him on a really decent deal, anywhere between 69.3 and 86.6 million euros, and I think this would be a world-class signing. And we have got an excellent deal for Hakimi, only playing 70 million euros. And even after spending 70 million on Hakimi, here, we're still left with 85 million in the bank. And we have made a great start to season 6, boys, winning the Super Cup 1-0, beating Bayern Munich. That's yet another bit of silverware added to the trophy cabinet. So we've reached the end of the transfer window, boys, and I've decided to only make Hakimi our only signing of this window, meaning this will be the team that takes us into season 6. And it is so strong on paper, boys. We've genuinely built such a good team here at Darmstadt. And our Champions League group is in, boys, and it's not actually too bad. We've got Barcelona, Anderlecht and Rakow. We should definitely be getting through that group. We're now simulating forward straight through to the end of season 6, and can we actually get to a UCL final with Darmstadt? So we've arrived at the end of the season, boys, and we have gone back to back, winning consecutive Bundesliga titles on 78 points, 5 points clear of Leverkusen once again. Massive goal difference once again, only losing 4 games all season. We have well and truly took over in Germany as the dominant club. However though, boys, we once again lost in the semi-final of the Pokal, getting beat by Leipzig on penalties. But lads, as you can see, we have made the Champions League final, and we will be taking on PSG. In the group stage, we finished top of our group, absolutely dominating the group, gone 13 points, scoring 15 goals. When we got to the round of 16, we beat Juventus 5-3 over 2 legs. We then went on to beat RB Leipzig 5-3 over 2 legs in the quarterfinals, getting our own back on the Pokal defeat. And then in the semi-finals, we got quite lucky as we got drew with AZ Alkmaar, who we beat 3-1 over 2 legs to set up a final against PSG. So quite a favourable run in the knockouts to get to the final, getting Leipzig and Alkmaar. But now we've got a huge task on to beat PSG. So this is the Darmstadt team that has got us to a Champions League final, and it's looking absolutely amazing on paper, lads. I really don't see a single weakness in this team. So in terms of stats, boys, Oscar Wilhelmsen had such a good season. He got 40 goals in 49 games. This is yet another hidden gem we have found in FC24. Lads, give Oscar Wilhelmsen a try. So all that's left to do, boys, is take on PSG at the San Siro for the Champions League trophy, and we bring it back to Darmstadt. So here we go, boys. It's time for the Champions League final. Darmstadt versus PSG. Let's get proceedings on the way. Wilhelmsen, good ball. Need a cross in the box. Dio. Masandio. Best player on paper. As a dig. Oh, Jesus. Great hit by Asandio. He's a player, lads, who I will be signing again, by the way. What a player he is. Ripped in. And Havertz, it's going to bounce to Cherundor, and there's not going to be a chance at the end of it. It's a really good run by Sanchez. We can't get the ball off him. Don't let him shoot. What a block. Oh, Duranville. Medina. Have a dig.
Nope.
Oh, what a save by Donnarumma. He is the best goalkeeper in the game for a reason. That is an amazing save. We are starting to turn the screw a little bit, boys. Knocking on the door a bit here. Havertz. Oh my God, what a save by Donnarumma. And you just know what's going to happen here, boys. PSG will go up the other end and score. That's a good ball. Havertz. Oh my God. Paco, our defender back. And it's straight at Donnarumma, boys. How are we not winning this game? How are we not winning? It's 0-0 at half time. We've had a raft of chances in the last 10 minutes of the half, but we just cannot get the ball in the net. And it's a good block by Cherundor. Valverde. What a block again, boys. Wow. Big chances there for PSG. Oh, Duranville. Duranville, what a run. What a run by Duranville. What a goal this will be. Duranville, what a save. And oh my God. We can't get the rebound. It's back forward though. Duranville's got to be. Donnarumma. Oh my God. He is unbeatable. Oh my God. Havertz. Yes, finally! Kai Havertz makes it 1-0 from a corner. And that is all we deserve, boys. But I'm sure Donnarumma got an answer to that. He is on steroids. But we've finally beat him with Kai Havertz. What a story. It's an incredible ball in by Engels. Havertz gets in front of his man. It's a bullet header. And Donnarumma almost saved it again, you know. He pushes it into the top corner. Pretty unlucky, really. But we are finally 1-0 up in this final after asking so many questions of this PSG team. Ferran Torres, and it's another great tackle. PSG are asking a few more questions of us. Oh my, can't get too close to Dembele. Let's get tackling. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God, Dembele. That's a big moment, and he's put it wide. PSG score now. I am telling you now, I'm going to go mad. I am going to go mad if PSG equalise in this game. But there's 2 minutes left, lads. There's a minute of injury time left. Get in there, lads. We have won the Champions League with Darmstadt. A few nervy moments in there, boys. But all in all, Donnarumma really kept PSG in that. And it's a Kai Havertz winner to bring the trophy to Darmstadt. And it's time to lift the trophy, boys. It'll be club captain Arne Engels, our first signing we ever made. And he will lift the trophy for Darmstadt And that is another rebuild successfully completed. And Darmstadt are the champions of Europe. So I just want to say a massive thank you for watching the rebuild, boys. If you enjoy the content, please make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel, as it really does help me out. And I will see you next week for another rebuild which has been decided by you in a recent poll.